So, welcome everybody to the Conservation Commission meeting. The meetings are broadcast live and digitally recorded. This meeting is being both held person and virtually through Zoom pursuant of Section 20 of the Acts of 2021, allowing meetings to be conducted remotely so that board and committee members as well as members of the public can participate remotely. So, I would entertain a motion for a vote for a new chair of the Conservation Commission.
I'd like to nominate Brian LaRochelle.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? You can vote for yourself. Okay, great. Awesome. All right, Brian, go
Look at that.
right ahead and take over.
Roped them right in.
Oh, one piece of housekeeping. If you do go to make a comment tonight on any matters, I would just ask you stand, announce your name and your address clearly for the recording, and limit your comments down to 3 minutes if you could, just so we can move along. Okay? Thank you. All right, go ahead. Where's this?
Public comments are here or at the end? I see it
Public
here
comments
twice.
is if we open with anything, like I usually get an email right before the meeting, but I didn't, so we can just say none on this time.
So moving right along, we are going to review the minutes from the last meeting. I'll give the commission a minute to read through those.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
So I have a motion, second by Tony. All in favor? Aye.
Awesome. Thank
Carries.
you guys.
New business.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to open the first public hearing.
Second.
So notice is hereby given that the Town of Hubbardson Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act for notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by M.A. Elbag Engineering on behalf of resident Derek Anderson for his property located at Lot 125 Grimes Road for the construction of a single-family home. Is the applicant present?
I'll actually come up here if it's easier.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's totally fine. And everything's in your packets as well.
Mark Elbag here on behalf of the applicant, Derek Grimes. Derek Anderson. Grimes Road. Derek's here as well, the owner. So this proposal is for a single-family house off of Grimes Road. Currently, there's a break in the wall and an entrance here. The hatch is the existing driveway area. For those of you that have seen the site or are familiar with the site, there's a garage here with some concrete slabs around it, some electrical infrastructure and slabs, just for reference. So it's a very flat lot. There's some wetland up in the front. The edge of wetland is here. There's another wetland system here. It's so flat. This is the edge of that system. And there's also some wetland here, as well as back here. So it's a very up and down lot with a lot of just perched water tables and wetlands. And we've pretty much flagged the entire property, but a lot of it's not shown. So what we're proposing is, because this is tributary to a drinking water supply, we need the septic system to be outside the 100-foot buffer. So the only place that we could really fit the septic system is up here, off the edge of the driveway. The 100-foot buffer is shown here. And then we will have work in the buffer zone for both completing the driveway, the house, and the pumped force main that will pump to the septic system. We'll have a well in the back to the rear of the house, and we're just really doing what we can on a very tight lot, tight situation. So it's
Has this wetland all been lineated?
yes, It's all flagged, yep.
I kind of like to challenge some of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the report is in the filing. It was done by,
Because I've walked it in just some of the places that you're showing me right now, and you're saying it's not wetland. As far as I'm concerned, it's wetland.
Chuck Karen was the wetland scientist of record for the filing. His report's in the filing. We can certainly visit any areas.
I would like to,
Yeah.
I would want to visit it, some of it with them.
Yep. Okay.
The notes from the state are also in that email that you see right there. Those are the notes from the state wetlands protection on the NOI as well.
I'm not trying to stop the build, but I just don't, I don't want to see the owner be in trouble later on either, because,
Yeah. Were there any areas that you wanted to point out that were concerned?
well,
Just so I give Chuck a heads up?
see where that, all right, where the garage is, and then you, all right, to the left of that, where your road is, all in there, you say that's all dry land in there.
On the opposite side of the
Yes.
road? Yep, okay. Yeah, there's some,
Well, I say there's a lot of wetland in there.
yeah, there's a few flags up in here, and there's also flags up in here.
Okay, in some of that area, it almost seemed like there was a brook running across there that looked like that road probably needed a culvert in it in places. I don't know if there's any culverts in that plan or not. And there's been a lot of material brought in there. Just how much material has been brought in there, and how much has that grade been brought up
Yeah,
for that driveway?
I don't know if you want to speak to that, but I don't think there's any, the only culvert in there currently is down here,
All right, you do have a culvert.
towards the end, yep.
Okay,
And then I don't,
that might be where
I think-
I'm talking.
I think most of what's been brought in has been stone.
Yeah, Derek Anderson, resident pertaining to this, 19 Grimes Road. Essentially, the whole existing route that you've seen, if you have visited the property,
Yeah, I have.
has been top dressed with 1.5 inch crushed stone. There's been no actual excavation to remove any, loam type material or anything, just essentially made a not unpassable route from the road. The cut already existed in the road. There was no elevation change cutting into a hillside off of the road, and was just essentially on the old Skidder Run, because that property was decimated back in the day, 30 plus years ago, along with the lot to the right side of it, as well as my family's lot. It was all the same operation. And that, otherwise I would have tried to almost just do something straight that made sense, but I kind of followed their run. It looks like they tried to stay out of any areas that were going to be difficult for them to navigate as well. So that's the logic behind the route currently. And that run, it is being presented as a break in the wetland where it crosses through the hemlocks there. Again, that was the run from them.
Now, how about where that garage is? There's a big cement pad. Is that wetland up in there, or is that, you
Seemed to
consider
be
that
out of
driveway?
it. It was out of it flagged wise.
So here's the pad,
Yeah,
and there are flags close to it, in close proximity. Just estimating by the scale, about 15 feet away is wetlands.
So that's within the buffer zone?
Yes.
Was that permitted? Was there
I
or
do
conditions
not
for that
believe
work?
I don't believe so. There were no prior permits, right?
There is
Or there's a prior building permit, but no,
driving permits with the sign off on it.
but no wetland permitting.
Yeah.
there were building permits?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I have the documentation on it right here.
What year-
With the Conservation Commission never looking at the property, there were building permits?
What year was the building permit?
Building
About.
permit B22136, and I have all of the concrete, form, foundation, rebar, anything that pertained to concrete work was all inspected by Rich Brady. The frame, once it was erected and at a point for a frame rough inspection, that was Robert Lanciani, Monday, November 28th. Overall comment, frame of storage building, okay.
Of what year?
Of what year?
This was November 28th, 2022.
22.
But I can see
I
how.
don't remember that coming.
I can see how
That never
mistakes.
came through to us.
It never came through. No,
No.
absolutely. We've never looked at that property
I
prior
can see how
to
mistakes
that.
could have been made out here in the past. It's so flat. You know, in a wet year, everything looks wet, and in a dry year, none of it looks like wetlands to the untrained eye.
Yeah, but it never came to
through
conservation. It never came through
Well, I'm not
conservation.
speaking to that. I'm just.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well-
what we're saying.
That's what,
It shouldn't, the building permit shouldn't have been issued.
I believe this falls into the same situation, the repeated issue that we've seen in the town with building permits slipping the gap.
Well, you did have an original building permit for that shed that
Yes.
was denied by Roland Jean.
Yeah.
And then he reapplied for the same building, and I looked into it. And it was one of the ones where it didn't trigger conservation in OpenGov like it should have, like it does now, because every building permit now gets conservation, whether it needs it or not. I have to physically look at it and take it off hold. So this is another one of those ones that potentially did not
good.
trigger conservation, and no one was alerted to the fact that it was within the buffer zone.
Okay.
And none of these wetlands are mapped on Mass GIS either.
So when all of that was done, nobody had looked at it. No, it hadn't been, had not been delineated.
Yeah,
It hadn't
I've
been
only-
anything.
I've only been involved since the delineation.
Okay. You just got your building permit and came in and built.
Yeah, I went to Mallory and
Okay.
asked her what each step should be that I should do. Again, there was a confusion on the driveway because I was told originally the first move I should have made was DPW to
Put a driveway to
get the
open it up,
apron straightened
exactly.
out. And back then I was told that I was putting the horse before the cart and that she wasn't going to issue that until a building permit was issued on the property. So she said, move forward on that. You're not going to get that until you have a house number, which is going to come with the primary structure. So that's why that held off. But since we went to DBW, met all of his radius requirements, cash bond has been applied, and that is all up to date as far as he goes. I did not raise anything at the road to please him until I talked to you guys about anything
Okay.
more. He wanted a 2 or 3 inch rise of riprap at the road just for erosion runoff protection. And that's all.
What's the finished driveway going to consist of? Is it going to be paved? Is it going to
Not
be
much more
gravel?
than what you see.
So just a
No,
crushed
really. Something that's very permeable and no mud. That was the whole idea.
I mean, when we drove through there, we saw some muddy spots, so it's
Yeah.
going to be a kind of a maintenance thing where you're going to be continuously adding material to that.
Without question. I mean, if it's been lineated, I'm going to withdraw wanting to walk it because I know where that always ends. But, well, like I say, that driveway is going to be a maintenance problem. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yep.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
have a couple of comments.
Yeah, let's take some public comments.
My name's Tony Stokes, I live on 5 Lowell Road. I'm Derek's uncle. I walked the property with Derek before he got it. I walked down the driveway. I'm just here to say that the driveway was there. Derek, there was some muddy spots, like with my dirt driveway, and he brought in some stone, like he said, and like everybody in this town does who has a dirt driveway, like I do. And it's really that simple. And I went out and watched him build this building and pop room and all that. And that's about all that happened there. I just want to say that Derek is an outstanding guy who's trying to do everything the town wants, but he needs to hear what the town wants. You know? And so, that's it. There you go.
Mr. Chair, Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. 2 just quick questions, informational questions. What's the total parcel size? I know it's not all shown on there.
It's very long and skinny. I forget the total number.
Full acreage or just the overall what more you
The
would
whole
see?
parcel.
It's, I believe it's like 4.94,
Okay,
just shy.
okay. So the next question is kind of moot, but was that parcel Is that parcel in, or was it ever in Chapter 61? I think I know the answer based on the parcel size.
Well, the grandfather parcel could have been prior to it being divided, but that would
okay.
that would go back years.
Well, Chapter 61 goes back years.
No, it would have been, I think that lot, I think the original plan of land is in the 90s for that lot, right? Yeah, it would have been like the mid-90s.
Yeah. That Chapter 61 was in effect.
Oh, I'm not saying
And
yes or
then-
no, I'm
right.
just saying to find that answer, you'd have to go back at least to the 90s.
Well, I'm asking that question. Thank you.
That's what, Cohenville, is that what we're talking there?
No, whether or not it was ever placed in Chapter 61.
Which is, you gotta tell me what's that.
That's like for conservation, farmland or
yeah,
whatever.
farm-
Okay, that's farmland.
Yeah, it's got,
Well-
it doesn't have
Farm or
anything to do-
forestry.
Farmland or forestry
Okay.
for the
Yeah.
purposes of reducing taxes.
Okay, I know.
Mike
has
Stahl,
nothing to
I know
5
exactly what we're talking
Okay.
about now, I just,
Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road, there's 3 parts of it. There's forestry, agricultural, and 61B is open space and recreation. And that's probably what that might have been in before the parcels were split up.
so what difference would that make?
Oh, it makes a difference whether or not, if you don't keep it in Chapter 61, certain tax clawbacks apply.
Okay,
But it has nothing
Thank
to
you.
do with conservation.
yeah, well, I might as well get a little knowledge where there's some to be gotten.
That's for the assessors, tax collectors.
So you are filing a 401 with DEP. Has that been submitted yet? And what's the status of that?
No, the 401 would only apply if there's deemed to be work in the resource area. So, but we have addressed, the paragraph above that, we've addressed most, if not all, of those comments with this plan. So this is actually a revised plan that addresses the comments above with labels on the wetland flags, erosion control, details, limit of work, and materials with the stone driveway.
Can you send me a copy of the revised plan? Because I just have the one that you originally submitted.
Yeah, you can actually, I have a copy, you can have one of these too.
I don't want the big one. We don't have a scanner anymore.
I'll send you both, but if you need a paper copy, I can give it
Perfect.
to you.
Yeah.
When was that culvert put in? Was that recent work, or was that
That's
something when it was
That's before my time, I don't.
logged?
Culvert, yeah, I mean, they had old pipe in there that we had went right over,
Okay.
you know, in that hemlock low spot.
Well, it was the one area that we walked that there was no culvert. And it almost looked like there was running water that was coming under the road and going across at the time.
You know, which
Yes,
location?
Some water does run up in here when it's really wet.
It could have been up in there,
Yeah, when we kind of first went in, there was some wet.
yeah, when we first went in.
First
And we got out,
corner, first
Yeah.
left corner,
yeah,
if anything?
yes.
And then the 401 water quality cert comment is based on, I don't think DEP knew whether that was existing or proposed.
Yeah,
when
it
they
probably,
looked at the plan. So if that is in fact, or if that was shown as proposed, it would require the 401 water quality cert.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was the major comment.
What's the do you have clearing limits shown? I mean, obviously I saw what was already cut, but is there going to be any
I
more
have-
to be cut where the house is going, or
I have erosion control limits in the dark line,
okay?
so that's typically our edge of clearing, with the exception of this area here.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the reserve area, so that will not be cleared. So there's not a heck of a lot more clearing other than for that septic system.
no, there really can't be because
No,
just
yeah.
about everything that we looked at
Right.
was pretty damp.
Yeah, right.
The
There's not
area
much
that
left.
the furthest point you probably went to, the before you hit the natural berm, which then turns into the easement right away in the back. That area has been cleared out for a couple of years now,
Yeah.
since I had Tim Newton and Rich Stevens out there to perform the perk that we did out there.
Okay.
But we've opened up the space pretty much that is needed already.
The septic's actually gonna be on a high point on the lot. It's just
Yeah.
happens to be the only thing 100 feet away.
Yeah, it was staked. We did see where it was
Yeah.
going.
So, Tony, do you want to walk the site again to see
No.
flags and
Well, yes, I would like to walk it again, but I'm not going to challenge the wetland scientist.
Okay. So I think, Rich, would you like to walk the site at all?
You both walked it already anyways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I'm good.
I think it would be helpful to walk the site again now that we've been
Yeah,
presented
now
the
that,
plan.
yes, I do too.
So I don't think we're ready to close the hearing at this time.
I agree. I do want to walk it one more
Yeah,
time.
well, in the meantime, we'll get this over to you. And,
Thank you.
yeah, if there's any questions while you're out there, feel free to reach out.
All right.
Or if you do know any areas that you might want an explanation on, maybe just take note of the flag number if no one's there.
Okay. We'll speak right up.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So I guess I'll entertain a motion to continue this hearing.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want this copy or do you want just PDF?
No, like I said, our plotter, our giant plotter is dead in the water. So a digital copy would be great. Thank you. All right. All right, back to regular
Okay.
business.
So there's two pieces of old business.
We just have to vote to continue the hearings again.
Before we do that, I guess, I think last time or at some point in the past, you might have reached out to them to get a status update. I don't know.
Yes. So for Birches Road, it is what it is. They are just sitting on it as of right now. Mark Popham told me that there is no new business. There is no new notice. I told him that his clock is running out. Eventually, we're almost at a year mark for this
Right.
being on the agenda. After a year, it drops off, and notice of intents are canceled by the DEP.
Yeah.
So she told me, Rebecca, her name is Rebecca, she's our new circuit rider. She said she would come and meet with us when that timetable is now ended, because with the DEP rules now changing, notice of intents that are dropping off people's agendas will be affected by these new rules coming out, especially with new wetlands being added to the conservation wetlands protection. Especially places like vernal pools here in Hubbardston, which we're rife with. They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere, and even though they were all marked at one time, many of them are marked wrong.
Correct.
Okay.
So, we just found one on a hike the other day that no
Yeah.
marking, just it's hanging out. There's some salamanders in there, some fairy shrimp. It was a grand old time for the boys. The boys loved it. All right,
So do you remember when that was open? What's that expiration date, I guess? is what
So
I'm
I have to
curious.
look because obviously this was before my time.
Yeah.
This is something that was passed down to me. So I had to do a little bit of
Been
digging.
home for a while.
But I think the 1 year mark is probably going to be September, which we think, we have plenty of time. It's not plenty of time.
But no.
I'm already back to school shopping. There is no time.
Okay, so
Motion for both.
Yeah.
Just
make a motion.
To what? Reopen
Continue.
the minute?
Continue
Yes,
the
continue, yes.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
yes. Maybe I will invite Mr. Popham to the next meeting to explain what is going on
Okay.
and how the homeowners would like to proceed.
Right.
All right. Mr. Hommons was supposed to be here on our next part of the agenda, but he is not.
What was he gonna be here for?
He wants,
The big 5-alarm fire that happened was his barn that burned down
Oh, that was,
in Templeton.
oh, okay.
So he's moved a majority of the horses to other barns here in town, but a lot of them have moved here across the street to his
To his
property
barn.
here.
Yeah.
I think they're wanting to expand a little, but unfortunately, once you expand a little in that back property, it's wetlands. It's wet. So I think he wants to come talk to us about what he needs to do, kind of in almost an
yeah, he
emergency
wants to find
situation.
out what he can do.
What he can do, and I would probably treat this as maybe an emergency order. This
He wants
definitely
to clear
meets the
behind Aldo's
requirements.
fields.
Yeah, up and
He
back.
wants to clear up in the back there.
He wants to clear out back there.
But just
so
up
he can-
top of the hill, he doesn't wanna go like down towards Taylor's. He doesn't wanna go down that way. That's where it's wet.
Okay.
So I think he just wants to get the horses somewhere to go so that they're
Yeah.
not
He wants to put
stretching the
some,
limits.
he wants to put a barn up there.
Yeah, he wanted to do that a long time
Yeah.
ago, and I looked at it, and it definitely was wetland up there. You know, I just said, yes, it is wetland, and that was the end of it at
Yeah.
that point, but now it's pressing.
Okay,
Right.
so I will, I'll get a hold of him tomorrow. I will, kind of go over everything with him that he might need to do, and I'll just have him fill out a site inspection and just have, as soon as I get the paperwork, I'll give it to you guys and you
We'll-
guys can go out and see what
Definitely, we'll
it's
take a quick walk out.
Yeah, quick walkout, just so he can get started on
Yeah.
what he needs to do. Okay, and then last but not least, I have paperwork for you people.
Because he's
for
got a ton
everybody
of
to sign.
acreage up there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think he's got a bunch. I think more Taylor's does.
Well, I thought he did too.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what he had, but
Yeah, he's got
he
s-
told me at the time, and it
Yeah.
was a bit.
So we
this is an extension? for
An
order of
extension
conditions?
for Pinecrest Properties Owners Association, the Cushman Pond for
Oh,
treatment.
yeah.
They've gone from Solitude, I think was the company that was doing it before. Now this is Water and Land. They're doing it. So instead of giving an extension to Solitude or to this new company, having this new company file an extension, what I noticed, the original order of conditions was actually for the Pinecrest Property Owners Association. It wasn't for the company. So we can do the extension based on that. The issue ran into this past week, which I fixed. And I've been finding out people are not registering their order of conditions with the Registry of Deeds,
And they should be.
and they should be.
But they never, I guess they're not told, and they don't know, and
Well,
that's what
and then
happens.
the other issue is that it looks like original order of conditions when they were signed at the meetings were then handed to the resident, and I don't have the signed copies, so I can't bring them to I can mail them to the Registry of Deeds myself. I don't have to have the applicant do it. I can do it, and then they pay.
should-
But
It
isn't
should
there
be
a
in the
fee?
application.
There's
Yeah.
a fee.
$50
We can
fee, I
pay.
believe.
There's a $150
Oh, it's
fee.
150, last time I registered.
Inflation there.
$50.
$150 recording fee that we could pay out of the revolving account, and then once we have that signed certificate that it was recorded, they would pay. Then the applicant would pay us the recording fee to cover it, so that
I think
we
that's a
know-
little atypical compared to what I know other commissions do. It would be
Right.
totally on the applicant to do that.
Right. But so it never got filed. I got a hold of the original copy. He found the original copy. He brought it to the Registry of Deeds. It's all set. It's been recorded. So all that needs to be done is you guys just need to sign and print. As long as you're okay with giving them an
Yeah,
extension
so this is
on
an
there.
extension.
To treat the
From-
water.
To treat the water.
Was it expiring this summer?
It was expiring, it expires actually in September, but they have a certain amount of days that they have to file for an extension. This is their only extension that they've done. I know after so many extensions, they have to just reapply at that point. So this is just one extension for 3 years. And it'll expire in 2027.
I certainly would say yes to
Yeah.
signing it up.
So it's the last.
It's almost always just been an automatic.
Does
And
this,
then-
does this require a vote? Like a normal
No.
order of conditions
No.
would?
No, I don't think so.
It's just signing. It's, what page is it? Half page.
Just-
Yeah. Just sign and print for me. And I promise not to give the resident this copy. I will give him a photocopy of the copy. I will keep the original copy and I will scan it in and there will be a paper trail. I'm finding a lot of order of conditions are missing.
I don't have a pen.
Well, oh, gonna get so wet? But my garden looks beautiful.
I was working in Oxford.
Berries
today.
are ripening.
Yep. I was hoping to
I'm working
go.
on Oxford.
Sawyer's isn't open yet.
Working in Oxford. And
Saturday.
the Worcester stopped.
Saturday.
The rain stopped at Worcester. It was perfect, so we got the paved all day.
And then the only other matter not anticipated by chair, the announcement hasn't gone out yet, but I am the new town executive assistant.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So nothing will change. I will
Okay.
still be the land use clerk. It's kind of going to be we've got some things that we have to figure out hours-wise because I am not leaving my library position either. So
Very good.
I'll be juggling a little bit, so just give me a little grace while I figure everything out.
Give you all the grace in the world.
So far that's it. So I won't be across the street anymore. I'll be here in the Slade building if you need me. But that's about it.
What's the status of filling the vacancies?
The vacancies we have. Mr. Perner over there is.
Hey, you want to try one of the cupcakes? I told you she'd have bakery goods.
Mike, are you coming on?
Come on, you can have a
So
cupcake.
that I don't eat the cupcakes.
You can have a cupcake.
Mike, are you coming on as well? We have a second vacancy, and you were.
I am on 2 committees now. One is a, regular committee, the other one's an ad hoc that has a far out horizon. So
Right.
I think a third committee is probably excessive at this point, especially knowing what one of the committees is up against. The one I was just in.
Yeah. No, understood. But there's vacancy. There's a seat at the table if you'd like it, and there's baked goods. You know me. There will be baked goods. They get baked goods first. Planning board doesn't always get baked goods.
I told Chris, there's going to be baked goods. He
There's
said,
always
sign me
baked
up.
goods.
That's what I said at the snack Sunday.
Yeah. I bake a lot. So it's actually my birthday on Sunday, and so this is the only way I get cake is if I bake
Oh.
it myself.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right, so I will have Nate sign this paperwork, and I will get him sworn in. Mel is out this week, so next week I'll call you right there, and I'll when she's in.
Do you guys text too, or is it strictly?
I'll text you. Don't you worry.
Well, I'm not much of a texter, but
She sends emails, but
I send
know what?
emails.
he doesn't do email.
It's totally fine.
But
If
his wife does.
If texting's the easier way, I'm more than happy to text
If you
guys.
email him, his wife will give him the email.
Okay.
I'll be perfectly fine.
She'll be like, I don't know what this is.
Well, you'll be a great help, especially when we get our tree. We did not get a tree cutting plan from DCR for Old Westminster Road. I have many questions, so I'm
That's
going
been
to.
on the books for a long time.
That lot was put out several years ago.
Yeah.
That's a wet lot.
They haven't been
That's
able
a
to
very
do it
wet
because it's been
lot,
so
and
wet.
I
Yeah.
usually get a tree cutting plan from DCR. Like, this is how much we're taking. This is if you have any questions, comments,
Yeah.
concerns. We usually have a 5-day grace period where we're allowed to comment on it. I didn't get one from them.
We never
and I'm
get
a
them
little
until
miffed.
they're all done.
Russ Wilmot is the forester over at Ware River Watershed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that, I know Ken Canfield, the head forester for the DCR, quite well. And I know if you wanted a copy of it that
I
get.
do want to. It's not that I need a copy of it. It's that some residents have raised concerns not only about the amount of trees coming in and out, but the rock wall. They obviously had to open up the rock wall to get the logging
Yeah.
trucks in and out.
Right.
They have to put the rocks back, and I
Right.
don't know if that has been talked to them about. So not only do we have questions, people asking to see this logging plan that I do not.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with us.
No, that's planning board.
That's planning board, right?
But a lot of people have also asked, like, where? Oh, can I see? Because some people
Yeah.
want to see the tree cutting plan. They want to see how much they're actually taking out. And I was like, I don't have it.
The state takes care of all that anyways.
Yeah, the
They
state,
follow all
the
that.
state care, don't care. They don't
You
care.
can
They
tell
don't
you
want
that.
to talk to me. They don't
They're
wanna
right
talk
on
to
them.
me.
They're right on them all the time.
Well, getting a copy of the cutting plan shouldn't really be any problem whatsoever.
Okay.
And I know that Mitch Anderson was the one that was doing that job.
Yes.
And they moved in, and I do believe they moved off. They went on to, I believe, a land clearing project because we got so much rain
they didn't want to operate in there while it was wet. So I'm sure that people always have plenty of questions, but the DCR has been known lately to do quite a few patch cuts. That seems to be the way that they're setting these things up to get a more diversified forest, because we have such a basically single-aged forest, especially throughout here.
Yeah.
So that's why they're doing a lot of those patch cuts, which is why you'll see a lot more of those small openings. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
those would all those questions would be answered if you have a copy of the cutting plan and you can look at the map.
Right.
Okay? So, believe me, I see plenty of those.
I get these big envelopes and I don't even know how they fit them in that mailbox. But they're like jammed in there and I can't get the door open. I'm like, oh God, it's a tree cutting plan.
Yeah,
I know
most
it.
of the time we don't get those until they're all done.
They're all done.
Yeah.
So, because they
Yeah.
send them snail mail, they don't send them to me via email.
I should have made that mailbox bigger when I made it.
You made the white one at the end of the road or the green one?
I made the one
By the
By
sign inside.
as you come in the door.
Oh, yeah, no, that one's fine. It's the white one
Oh.
out there for the
Oh,
USPS.
okay.
They shove them all in there and I can't get the door open. All right, perfect.
Are there any public comments?
There's no public left. Oh, yeah, there is. There's my kid.
None.
Mine's public.
I'll make a motion. We're closed.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.